Hi everyone, this here is Tracilyn, also known as VCAT, and I am down here in Dayton at Kennedy Avenue and High Ridge Avenue. I have been looking forward to sharing this with you. It is the church that I used to attend in 2009, 2010, and I think even in 2011 while living out here in Dayton, Ohio. It's a place that I used to come to meet with a lot of people that have, or that we have been a part of a community to support one another as we went through day-to-day life. They knew a lot of the details of the things that I was going through and provided a lot of love and memorable, happy moments of those years. I don't know if it's a functioning church today. From what I know, they relocated somewhere and some people moved throughout the United States. If you come across this, know that if you remember me, Tracilyn, thank you for being a big part of my life and healing process. I could have never done it without you. Whether we met for 5 minutes, a couple minutes, or if we shared many days of worship here at the church. Thank you. I don't know what it's called anymore. Was it MCC, Eternal Joy? I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look that up. But there is a sign here that says New Hope International Ministries. So if it is another functioning church, know that I apologize, and I hope you're not upset that I'm just going to share a little bit of video and a testimony of myself attending the church and what I've learned through observing the last few years since last night. I sat down and had an in-depth thought, some like thinking tank time, to try to go back in time and see what it was that I might be able to do more maturely or differently in the years to come, and all the beautiful things that I can carry with me, and hope of healing and living a happy life from here on out. I noticed that there is a second sign here with a different name. United Christian Center. The service times are different. One's at 1 o'clock and one's at 10 in the morning. Is it still functioning? Do you know? Do you know what it's called? If you do, leave a comment down below or contact me privately. All my contact information is on my website at tracilyn.com. I was looking at this last night on Google Map, and it brought back some memorable moments of ourselves to me driving down this road. And a lot of times we parked over here close to the tree, and sometimes we park alongside the curb, usually down closer to the telephone pole. I'm shaking a little bit. I suffer from a major case of depression, especially at that time. And what I kept acknowledging, or what I acknowledge in looking back, is as an artist, if that's what you want to say, that's a title that is given to myself because of a lot of the passions I have with my music, art. My perspective of life. I have realized that during those times especially, but even now, I am about environment. And it's like a nurturing, motherly, femme kind of spirit that wants to take the things in my life that I would like to brighten up and try to make them right for myself to perceive and receive, as rather than being, for instance, unattractive to being extremely attractive. I don't know if that's in the human race, if that's how we all are. I think to some of us, most likely, it means more to us at different points in our lives or different points in our life journeys, and depending on where our mindset is at, or just personality type in general, which for all of us could fluctuate and change year to year, day to day, hour to hour, like a switch. But as you can see right now, I was actually grateful because it's kind of cloudy out. The sun is trying to shine through. I didn't know if it's gonna rain or not. The good news is there's a lot of green. Okay, and I'm gonna point this out. Don't be upset, City Council of Dayton. But you see the road, how it's all cracked up? Okay. It's not like a fresh blacktop. For whatever reason, it's cracked up. Concrete. Now here's the thing. With what I just said, when I would be coming up the hill with the person I'm going to call during this video, Daddy. He's my spiritual father. When we were coming up the road, I was usually in the passenger seat of his car. We were coming to church. He's a very, very godly person. And that meant a lot to me. And I've realized through that relationship and relationship with others in the past, into my childhood with my grandparents and my mother, but especially my grandparents, that worship is a very important ingredient to fulfillment in my mindset. I really believe in a God, an almighty God, the creator of all life. I'm convinced we were made in God's image, and that God wants a very personal relationship with each one of us. I have learned over the years of lots of study, trial and error, time alone, working on my music, that the best way for at least myself is to be honest with the desires in our mind, know as much of the details of what we truly hunger for, whether it's living somewhere, a location, the kind of friends we would like to have, kind of like playing a movie in our head that if it had nothing to do with money and anything was a go, what kind of life would you give yourself if you could, if you were God? I realize today that I was off to a heck of a start with very minor details that I wasn't ready for anyway. So it was perfect is what I'm saying. But I didn't come here with that kind of attitude. I came here very distraught. Everything to me, the gray skies, the roadway, the atmosphere, trees, maybe during the winter time when they're bare. It was very depressing to me. And I couldn't get my focus to be on the other aspects of life, which I was coming here to meet new people. I was with my daddy, who had very much so aided me during time that if it wasn't for him, I most likely would not even be alive today. Okay? And if you listen to my whole life story, you will find out I am a miracle child. And I could have never done it without the support of this church and my daddy, especially my daddy. God, and what God did through everybody was That's what I'm realizing. In my opinion, the one who is worthy of all the credit in all situations, in my opinion, is God. God wants to receive that glory, that praise, if you will. Receive the praise. So I give God my praise. And I thank anybody throughout the 45 years of my life that has ever tried to instill the fact that Christ is Lord and loves me. I would like to say thank you. No matter how it turned out or how I turned out, it's the one thing that lightens up my life. I really love Jesus. And for a season of time, and you'll find out, I could not believe anymore. I had to let go of believing, and I was really hurt because I had to question whether or not what I came to learn is real or not real. And I gotta say, during that time, I had to come up with a new way of thinking about things. And it feels good to be back in a motion where you realize church community, community of people, worshiping God is something that I gotta have in my life to feel whole. Whether I'm a worship leader or attending a service, and just simply raising my hands and singing along. Okay, so getting out of the car, we were probably coming here in 2009. It was the first time I got to meet the church when I was living over at Xenia. It was a very important factor for my daddy. And I was grateful because even when I was on the road as an escort, I would try to either watch services online a lot, or I would try to find local churches that I could attend that I would find interesting. And it was usually because of the music, not necessarily always the message. But I really love great music, and a lot of what's found in Christian music, or music that's aimed at glorifying God, like that's the purpose, is to put your direction onto God, is beautiful to me. It's the most romantic music that I've come to learn, even as a kid, with gospel singers and stuff. Now, knowing my history, I was raised around worship leaders. My mother led worship as a child growing up. My grandmother, who was her mother, did. Her brother did. My uncle was a bass singer in a quartet. And my grandfather even led worship. I started leading worship at the age of 5. And I gotta say, I've come into understanding that I love all diversity of music. So the music that I record now is what I really want to sing for the rest of my life. It's not necessarily maybe of being a worship leader like you know a worship leader, but what I've come to realize is I love to lift people's spirits up. It makes me feel good to do that. And in a sense, I believe in doing that, I'm lifting up my own spirits. So what do you think? Is that selfish? It's okay if you say it, because maybe in a sense I am. You know, I want to be happy all the time, and I love an up spirit in myself, and I hope that this just made you laugh. So coming here, I was very depressed. Understand, I was traumatized when I was on the road as an escort. That's how I ended up. I shared that story, I don't want to repeat it. So I was traumatized, up PTSD, if you will. I got major depression. I'm lucky if I can be scraped off the bed. Daddy got me here. Also, had a lot of beautiful clothing. I like to dress in nice clothing whenever I get the opportunity to, especially quality clothing. I got the opportunity to go through the closet, pick out an outfit, and away I went with the suburban, I guess you could say, mid-class Tracilyn, not being an escort, just being a human being. And it felt good in that aspect that I had family. I had the person I call my father, my daddy is what I love to call him. I had that in my life. I lived in a beautiful home while I was here, absolutely gorgeous. And we were coming to a small hometown church, and it was for the, specifically, it was known for the LGBT community, but anybody could come. Everybody was welcomed. But it was known as a safe place for LGBT folk to come. A lot of us have suffered painful experiences when attending churches that were not centered on LGBT community. This one was, but it was also open to others as well. Whoever could accept us or was willing to come inside in a friendly mode. It was an opportunity to show whoever we're no different. We're human beings. We love God. We love life. We love to have community, and having friends is always nice. Now, so when I came up here, we're going to speed through this really quick. 2009 was a time that I was going through all kinds of pain and suffering from being on the road, going through my traumatic experiences. I carried up through here in the car, and we got to walk in the door, which the sidewalk most likely is not opened. I don't know if there's anything going on there. Nope. Hear that? Obviously, purple's my favorite color, and you just saw that. I used to joke around and say I was the purple scarf around Jesus Christ. The color of purple to me is royalty. And Jesus is the one who's carrying me all the way every day. The fruits of the Spirit, which hopefully I get some time to explain that. Now, with this was a really cool experience because I got to meet a diverse group of people. I'm going to tell you straight up, some of them were lesbians, some of them were considered gay, or considered themselves gay, some of them were just regular everyday people. There was even some people here that considered themselves to be absolutely straight. And what was really cool for me is there was other transsexual females here. And that meant a lot to me, to sit down and have companionship with other people that I felt could relate, at least to that aspect of life. I was very proud to sit with a lot of the transsexuals that were here. One of them was Catherine, who I lived with in 2010. I won't say her last name, but I used to really look forward to sitting with her at church. Her smile, she had a very, very gentle spirit. I needed it at that time. Eventually I'll talk a little bit about our relationship, and if she ever sees this message, I'm sorry for ever hurting you if I did, and I know I probably did. I did. I did. I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I don't ever want to hurt anybody. If you get this message and you would ever want to reach out to me, know that I really would appreciate that a lot. A lady that was here in the process of transitioning became a good friend of mine who is CJ. I had a lot of memorable times that you would come along. We'd pick you up, be here, sleep over, and I'm very thankful that we had time to worship together. You made my visits to the church a lot more enjoyable. There was a lot of other people that were here, and I want you to know you all mean the world to me in this time. And it would have been nice if I could have gave myself in a different way and been more in tune with where I'm at today mentally, but I couldn't. We were where we were, and there's nobody else in the whole wide world that I would have wanted to go through this moment of time with. I am very thankful that I had this church to attend. It was a big part whether I liked it. I complained a lot about everything, and a lot of people within the church knew of what was perceived as being a very negative attitude. Everybody knows that I was an adult entertainer and an escort, and I was living life trying in survival mode. And when I came out here, that was something that everyone knew I was trying to get away from. They also knew that I was very passionate about music. So one of the cool things that started to happen and windows of opportunity that opened up is, and you can see pictures like on my Flickr or maybe on my Facebook. I hope to always share those because of the memories here were, in my opinion, not enough. I want more memories. Maybe not here, but I want more happy memories with anyone who's willing to give me an opportunity, even just to chat online. But I used to be able to, when I came here back in 2010, because I had moments of leaving Ohio, and I would return back to escorting because, in all honesty, I did not know what to do. That was my means of survival. 2010, you'll find out at the house or the apartment that I was staying at with Catherine, I wrote a lot of songs in a very brief time. It was me cleansing my heart and surrendering to my greatest desire at that time was to be a songwriter, a very, very, very good songwriter. Did a lot of research on Dayton and a lot of evaluating of my life and emptying out my heart's pain through music. I am now currently recording a lot of those songs, and I am grateful because anybody who has met me knows that I've been wanting to hear these songs in a tangible form of serious music for a very long time, and I'm finally doing it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to hear my music. You can go online to my website and you can actually download free MP3s. And I'd also do music videos, and I'm always looking for people who would like to do something in my music videos. If you want to be a part of that, know that you can contact me, whoever you are. You don't have to be LGBT, just friendly. Just be nice. And if there's something you want to contribute, maybe a video wherever you live, you can live anywhere on the planet. If you got this message and you want to send a video of yourself, whether it be dancing or acting out one of my songs, know that I would appreciate contributing, but you would have to communicate with me so we know which song it's in reference to as far as to what I'll be working on like this year. I'm going to work on like 4 or 5 videos. With that being said, I used to come here, and one of my passions was, since childhood, is I wanted to be a worship leader. So, but I gotta be honest, I did music as a business for quite a while, and I had a lifelong of singing a lot of cover songs. Anyone who knows me knows that I really understood that this is not what I want. I want to be a great songwriter and sing my songs. That's what I really, really wanted. And this was a window of marvelous opportunity. I got to sing songs like Nebraska. I think I did I Am Thankful. I wrote a song for Racine and Rebecca. Was it their baptism? Washing Me Clean. They had asked me if I would sing a song for their baptism, and I mentioned to them not to be smart. If I could write one, I would love to. And that's how Washing Me Clean came about. Unfortunately, at that time, I did not have a full recording of the song like I do now. So I hope they got it. It's on my website. You can also download that MP3 if you get this. Or I tried to offer it to you before, so maybe you already have it and you get to listen to it. I'm very thankful because, let me tell you something, the people that were here, they touched my life, and it contributed to making me a really good songwriter. Great. I'm great. I'm great. Very inspirational, all the lives. So thank you for that. used to love coming down this walkway, and at the entrance of the door, there were door greeters. And it was pleasurable that when you walked in the door, you got hugs by 3 or 4 people, maybe more. They would give pamphlet, you know, and it was nice to walk into the church and greet everybody else who had arrived and the other ones who were coming in. When I was here, let's see, let me put this somewhere first. I'm on a roll, so this is kind of like my notes in case I run out of things to say. When I was here, I was hurt, and when I say this, I don't want to hurt anybody, so please don't be upset. But in my head at the time, I had come from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and one of the churches that my ex-girlfriend back in 2000 had taken me to was a mega church in our local area. And the setup within it was absolutely, the presentation was absolutely astonishing. We're going to hold off on that for now because I have things to talk about with that separately, but the truth of the matter is, as we go through life and we're wowed by stuff, a lot of times we end up in a comparison mode, which is not always what's best. At least not if it's too harshly. With my head being messed up and going through comparison mode with anything to do with the environment, the kind of people I'm around, myself, you know, we always compare ourselves, or some of us do, tendency to do that. Thank goodness I'm breaking the chains that bound me with that. I do my very best not to compare myself with anyone else. I really just want to maximize my fullest potential. And I hope you do too. And that's in every aspect of life. With that being said, drinking coffee again. Will you pray for me that I'll have the strength to quit this and start drinking more water? I need your prayers. When I would come here, I won't go into all the details because I don't want to hurt anybody. But the form of worship is very traditional. And with that being said, I evaluated a lot of churches. I went around America. I saw a lot of stuff online. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, you know what pissed me off? Is I wanted to see an LGBT church with modernized everything, the very best of everything. An amazing team of people to present the gospel in an incredible way that could kind of show, listen, a lot of, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the other Christian community, at least years ago, were not in agreement with me being a transgendered person. So know this, I know I love God, what God means to me. I know that God had called me out of living a worldly shell and a worldly self to live what God has created me to be, which is very Christ-like, very loving, very forgiving. And this is the result for me. But a lot of people, even in the church community, will never believe it. They're convinced it's ways of Satan. Without damning anyone, I'm here to tell you it's not of Satan. This is all of God and my love for Christ and what Christ is doing through me. And it's sloppy at times, there's no doubt about it, because I am a human being. But the condemnation is between me and God, and from everything I have felt in my soul for a long time, is Christ is the one who set me free from all the BS. I finally really love me, and I love God even more because God is there for me and God is inside of me, directing each one of my steps. Helps me to brush my teeth in the morning, gets me out of bed. Sometimes kicks me out of bed. And here's the thing, check this out. So, with that being said, wow. Comparison. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it at some point. If we're honest, the sinful nature is guilty of it. How's that? That's what was honestly going through my head without going through the details. Can I tell you that if I would go back in time now, however it was performed, the whole service, everything to do with life, I would embrace it for what it is and I would love it even more. And I would give shouts to God, thank you, because it's my community. It's the place that did not turn their back on me. I was able to go in there and worship. I received hugs, I received love. And let me tell you, if anything, the proudest moments I had was sitting with people that did not look at this in judgment. Maybe some other things, because we're all human, but not the transsexual part. Okay. So, thank you for all of that. Thank you, everybody. And again, what I loved also the most was other transsexual females who loved God. It was nice to sit with you. Specifically, that meant a lot. I love having transsexual female friends. There's a lot of other diversities and measures within the human race, but the ones who identify themselves solely as they transitioned into female, so they may identify more as female, but they are, I identify in a manner that says, I was told that I was a male, but I really identify as female, so therefore I transitioned. I'm a transsexual female. I love to be friends and connected to transsexual females. It's a good feeling. But I also realized that it's not just that you need in common. Here we had God in common. We wanted to worship. Maybe we were hurting or going through some things we needed support. So there was a lot of elements within coming to this church community that were fulfilled. But I also realized that you need compatibilities. What is it that you're passionate about? But meanwhile, we had this meeting place for at least those passions. And I would never change them for anything in the world, except for I would have loved to have a much nicer, pleasant, uplifting spirit and attitude. One of the things that were here that in my mindset at the time was more of what was considered to be ritual, what I would perceive as ritual, meaning, can I be honest, mundane, repetitive, the same things. And here's the thing that I've realized in life is patterns are wonderful, and I don't ever want to damn anybody's teachings. But it affected me in a way that I didn't care for that aspect of service. With that being said, if I could go back in time now, even with the eating of the bread, there was many times that I withdrew from that. I would get back in line and I would smile, and I would know that maybe I'm not so big into rituals or repetitiveness, but I am into making you laugh. I am into hugs, and I'm into praying for people and being prayed for, and I'm into being a part of a community. So I have the way I thought back then versus the way I think now. What do you think? How would you feel if you attended any church service and a lot of it was of a repetitiveness? Would you feel like you want to break that mold? Or do you think it'd be best to readapt a way of thinking about it? Would you go somewhere else? What would you do? My need for now, at this time in my life, is to stay focused on my greatest passions. That's why I'm making this video. I don't have all the direct answers. 2009, 10, 11, I really wish that I could go back in time and tweak some of my thought process. Because what I realized is, as long as I have my recording studio and I'm focusing on my music and giving it my very best, that's really my sole time, that I would not want somebody to come in and tell me it has to be done any other way. I want to do it my way. That's my time to really do it my way. When I come to a place like this, in all honesty, I would be best maybe to volunteer where there's a need and to simply love people and stay happy and show the real Tracilyn that Christ has called me to be. In other words, it's not my church, it's my family. I would be supportive of my family. What do you think? Until something came up, and then there'd be a family fight sometime. Hope not. So here's the thing. So that's me being honest. I don't want to ride that too much. But I did, get to be a part of singing my own songs here. And that's the way it was given to me. And can I say, looking back now, I wish that I would have really embraced that part of it and said, wow, I got time to share my actual songs. What church has ever done that to me in the past? None. Maybe for a lot of reasons, whether I had asked or mentioned or whatever. But here it happened, is what I'm saying. It actually happened here. It did at one or two other places too. To come to think of it. In other words, I love music and I love singing my music, and that's where I'm at with that. But I would have really loved to be a part of the church in a different way, and always been happy when I came up this road, maybe with a car full of transsexuals or kids or whatever, and let's just have fun. It gives us something to do on Sunday, and what a better way than singing songs of praise and hearing a good word for the life that we long to live, which is in freedom to be ourselves and go about our life purpose. Now, what I want to do before I start going into my tablets is I want to share with you, somewhere right in here where this tree is, there's a window. Here. Can you see it? It would be nice to go into the church, to be honest with you. I would like that a lot. On the other side of that window is where me and my daddy used to sit, at least at the start of the service, and especially in the very beginning time of 2009. Everybody that I was in connection with was going through what they were going through. I was hurt. There's a lot of people that were extremely hurt. We got a lot of hurt people here, and we're trying to find words of encouragement, motions, if you will, actions of love to try to help us get through to the next week, where we could come back and love each other and give us words of encouragement again. Is that what we live for? Evidently, that's what I was living for, And I gotta add that I hardly ever had a really good attitude, and I'm sorry. I could only be the best that I was at the time. I always tried to be friendly, and most people would say, they'd seem to look forward to me being here. But it was more that was going on up here, not necessarily what was coming out of my mouth. And I just want to say that I was thinking about this and evaluating it last night. If I could have one memorable moment back in my life, it would be a day that I was sitting in a pew with my daddy to my right. He could be to my left if he wanted to be. I used to like sitting side by side him. He had a jacket on, and I used to love holding his hand. A lot. And if I could have a moment like that, I would want to wrap my arms around him and kiss him very passionately and thank him. I mentioned I always wanted to be, I already knew that I loved the Italian, I love to be with Italians in intimate relationships. One of my fantasies as a kid growing up was to be with a military person because I really admired them. My grandfather showed me signs that I want to be with somebody who's successful and has a big heart for God. And I tell you that my spiritual father had all of those elements. He even had, assuming it was a leather jacket. Was it leather or imitation? I don't. Aha! Pulled a fast one on me. He knew how to dress, and he cared about people a lot. That's the kind of person I want to be. It was a beautiful scenery just looking and observing him at this church. I'm very grateful for those moments because there was a lot that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life just observing him in this church. All the times that he gave hugs, kisses, prayer, the times we held hands, the time that he would keep his hand on my legs. Sips of his water. I used to like that a lot when I came here. That's one of the one reasons that I drink the water I do as a Danzy or something like that, Danzel or something. He drank that, and when I came out, he taught me a lot about eating, and that was his choice of water at the time. And I used to like when he put it in the center console, and he would tell me I could have some. He also ended up having another bottle of water that he used for water all the time. I forget what they were. I think it had a lizard on it or something. And you might know what the drink is. But when we were here, you know, the crackling of the plastic bottle, and he would let me drink out of it. He always brought the water with. I was very pampered. And it seemed to me that he really loved to pamper people in general. That's the kind of person that I like to be. I don't want to just always be the one receiving the pampering. It's nice to love other people is what I'm saying. And when I stay focused on the positive, he really had shown me a lot of wonderful ways to love others, actions of how to love others. So if we were here for any other reason, know that even today, if I was a part of a church community, which I'm hoping to over the years to become, if for any other reason, I would just simply love to be there for the opportunity to network with others and the opportunity to love others. That would mean a lot. People that would let me love them would mean a lot too. There was children that came here, and it felt good to be around children that already were aware of LGBT life. So it was nice to be around people that just looked at you like more or less a human being. I gotta switch this card. It's a sign. We're almost done with what I wanted to talk about. Then we're gonna go into our notes and see what we might have missed up to this point.